Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the 500 subscriber celebration hop for ScrapRona. And this is the layout that I am lifting. She did not specifically say we needed to lift anything. She just said take some inspiration from one of her layouts and go with it. So I am actually going to do a bit of a lift. I was inspired to pull out my Pretty Little Studio Comfort and Joy. I've had this paper in my stash for a little bit now and definitely wanted to get it used. I loved what she did with it, so I'm going to do something similar. I am going to offset it a little bit opposite of what she had, but it's still going to be very similar. I am also using some other products from Pretty Little Studios Comfort and Joy, and then some additional papers. Those green papers in the middle, or in the two squares at the bottom on the page there. Now there's three, and they're rectangles, not squares. Those are from a really old LDRS pack of Traveler's Notebook papers. And then I am using a couple of pieces from the Comfort and Joy collection. The stripes are from Comfort and Joy. The green bottom one is from 49 and Market. They're all just scraps, basically, you guys. The polka dot is from, I actually don't even know who that's from. Anyway, pulling in all different kinds of Christmassy papers, and I realized the bottom polka dot one doesn't look Christmassy. It is actually Christmas paper on the other side, and I thought it went well because the paper that has all of the candy in it is very similar, and there's pinks involved in these papers also, so I specifically thought it went well with the Comfort and Joy striped paper. So I'm going to go ahead and try and figure out the placement. I'm kind of going with ones that are at least one that has more of a red heavy in each section, one that has more of a green heavy in each section, and one that has more of a white background in each section. My red heavy one in the middle row is that middle piece of paper, which is admittedly green and red, but you get the point. I'm kind of trying to balance out the colors and not have all of the same colors right next to each other. And then I am going to be covering up a couple of those rectangles with my photo, so they're going to overlap heavily there, and so you're not going to see a lot of that portion of it. I also did want to use this 3x4 card that says the most wonderful time of the year. So my rectangles are larger than what she did because I didn't want to cut that up any further than it is, so I kind of cut it as narrow as I could and went with that measurement for the width. And then for the height, I can't even remember what I did. I think they're 3.5 inches tall. Anyway, I also did use my distress tool from Some Assemblage Required to rough up all of the edges, and then I inked them up with a little black soot distress ink. I believe she did that as well with hers, although she puts hers a bit on an angle. I kept mine more grid-like. That's just how I roll 90% of the time. I prefer more straight on placement rather than the wonky placement. Most of the time, not all the time. And then I went through my ephemera bits here that I've got from the Comfort and Joy collection, also from Pretty Little Studio. And I might add that Rana is on their design team, so it makes sense that she is using tons of product from their company. I am not on their design team, but I do love their products. So MK and I used this in our November Kit Conspiracy for 2024, and I have leftover pieces, so it was a rather large kit that we had kitted up to use for the week, and I'm really happy to get some of these pieces used. Now I did pull out my Tooli Art Pens, and I am going over this wood veneer. This wood veneer piece that says Santa is from Some Assemblage Required, so I am going over it with some of my Tooli Art Pens to give it some color, although I'm not coloring the whole thing. I didn't really want the whole thing to be colored since it is a very busy pattern kind of going across there, and I am going to change the placement of some of my pieces of paper because that one that's in the middle is just a little too busy for what I've got going on. I will put links for the products that I'm using down below if they are available. I believe the Tooli Art Pens are still available, and I am actually going to use some Liquitex acrylic ink in gold on a couple of these pieces as well. You can kind of see that, well, you can see that black bottle at the top of my screen right above where I'm working. That is the Liquitex ink, and then I'm going to use some Dina Wakley Media Gloss in a silver color, and I don't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but if it's available, I'll link it down below for you as well. So I'm liking the way that this is looking. I wasn't really 100% sure how it was going to come out with it just being partially painted, but I like the end result, so hopefully you like that as well. My Tooli Art Pens, I have them by color family because you could buy like all of the greens, all of the blues, all of the reds, which includes pinks, the blacks, which is all of the grayscale. So I have the whole set, but I believe you can also purchase a set of mixed colors, so you don't have the entire collection, but you have a variety of different colors that kind of cover all of the color families. So that is also an option when you are purchasing them. And these pens, they're basically it's acrylic paint in a pen, and you press down on the nib to get it flowing. You got to shake them up, then press down on the nib till a little bit of the paint is flowing out, and then you can paint it onto your surface there. And so that's what I'm doing off to the side on that little scrap piece of paper when you see me reach over and press down. I don't want to press down directly on the wood veneer piece because I was a little bit afraid that it would create a blob of ink and it would come out too fast. So I did it over onto a side piece of paper where I can not worry about it messing up my wood veneer if it does come out too fast. So that is the gold Liquitex ink that I'm using there. Just doing the buckle on the S, and I am doing this little tiny star that's in the middle of the N, and it's just adding a little bit of extra color and shine, and I really like the way that that looks. And then I am going to do the top of the last A, that jingle bell that's hanging off of the top of it. I'm going to do it in white first, and then I'm going to go over it with the silver from the Dina Wakley Media Gloss. Now my white pen doesn't really want to flow really great because I've used it a lot, and it was a little bit dried out. So I had to get it going, and it took me a little bit of time to kind of get that flowing again because it's been a while since I've used it. But once it started coming out, it worked out just fine. I will also put the link to this wood veneer piece down below in case you're interested in that, and the distress tool from Some Assemblage Required that I used for distressing my papers and roughing up the edges. I love the distress tool, so you probably hear me say it in every video that I use it. It's the best distress tool that I have found on the market, so highly recommend that as well. Now that I've got my little pieces done, I just had to wait for that little jingle bell to dry a little bit. Oh, I am going into the centers of the little bell to put a little bit of black ink because I wanted it to look like the bell was hollowed or empty in the middle aside from the little jingly portion of it, and so the black ink kind of gave it that look rather than just having the wood veneer. And then again going over it with the silver to kind of give a silver shine to it, but I did go with the white first because I felt like if I just did the silver, the wood veneer would just suck up the silver that I'm using here, and it wouldn't show as much. So that is my plan, and here's where I decide I think I need something a little more solid in the middle to let my title show a little bit better. While I figure out where I'm going to move my papers around, I'll just let you know the photo. I apologize that I have to cover up the kids' faces. That is for the privacy protection for their family. They're not my kids, they're just the kids I take care of, although I would claim them. And so I have done this photo before, but I want one for each of their albums because they're all three represented in this photo, and they shouldn't have to share that layout when they get older. At least that's my thought. And it is, you know, one of probably the little guy's maybe his first time sitting on Santa's lap. It might be his second time, but I don't know that they actually had him sit on Santa's lap as an infant. So, yeah, that's definitely something that should go in their album. And then I went ahead and I am roughing up the edges of my ephemera, my little tickets here. You can see in the bottom right hand corner that is the distress tool that I'm using there to rough up the edges. I'm also roughing up the edges of the tabs that I'm tucking in up here at the top, and then inking them up with a little bit of black soot just to make them a little bit more bold and stand out more. Now originally I said that green piece with the red and red floral was going to be my red for my middle row, but because I covered up most of the green piece with the photo, I went ahead and swapped it with the green one that was up in the upper right hand corner. So I just swapped the two, and that makes the Santa a little bit easier to read, and I feel like the green is still represented in the top row. And the middle row doesn't really necessarily need it because it's got the red from the Santa hat and from the letter T that has all the red on it. So I'm feeling like it's well balanced and all the colors are represented everywhere. And because I roughed up the edges of my papers, that my grid papers, I decided I needed some really thin foam dots behind my photo because the right hand edge of the photo is got a little bit of a bump on it because of those roughed up edges. If you know where you're putting your photo, you can probably skip roughing up those edges, and then you wouldn't have to use extra foam to pop it up. But because I didn't think about that, I just used a little bit of really thin foam to give it a little extra support. So this foam is definitely not as thick as the fun foam that I normally use from Walmart. And I don't even know where this foam came from. I got it from somebody who was getting rid of their scrapbooking and card making stash. And so I have a bunch of it, and I don't know what company it's from. There's nothing on the packaging to tell me that. So anyway, then because I popped up all of the photo area, I do need to give a little support to my embellishments off on the left hand side there. And then I just left a little spot to write the year for the date up at the top on that top tab. I don't really have a lot of journaling for this one, but I thought it would work really well just to document the year. And then I added a little bit of a chipmunk there, a little chipmunk to the top of the T, because I've got some of the more nature kind of things going off on the left hand side of my photo. So I wanted to bring that over to the right hand side also. That is pretty much it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You should go and check out what Rana's got going on her channel, celebrating her 500 subscriber milestone. She may be doing a giveaway as well. I'm not 100% sure about that as I am voicing this because I don't have the details in front of me, but go and check out her channel. The link is down below, as well as the playlist for everyone else playing along and celebrating her reaching her 500 subscriber milestone. Congratulations, Rana, for reaching that. That is quite an accomplishment, and I know it's very exciting when you get to that point. So thank you for including me in your hop, and thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. I'll see you guys again real soon with another one. Bye-bye.